Vice President Kamala Harris's rapid ascent to the top of the Democratic ticket has made her the subject of a number of attacks, many of them false. CNN's Tom Foreman has a fact check for us.
Hey, Jessica, it certainly looks like on the Republican side of this election right now, there is an all-hands-on-deck call to do anything they can to slow down the rise of this opponent.
I say, bring it on. Bring it on.
Amid cheers from fans and jeers from foes, Vice President Kamala Harris is being pelted by Republican claims about her life and career, many unfounded. At his first rally since Harris became the presumptive nominee, former President Donald Trump tore into what he said are her views on Social Security.
She's talking about lifting the retirement age.
On when abortion should be legal.
Even after birth, the execution of a baby.
And on his own legal cases, which he long blamed on President Joe Biden.
It was all headed up by her.
All three of those cases about his opponent are patently false. But never mind.
By the way, on this show, our vetting has only begun.
While some right-wing media stars are erupting over the new Democratic challenger, others are accusing Harris with no evidence of building her career primarily on race and gender. Some on the right in the past rebooted Trump's birther claims against former President Barack Obama by falsely saying Harris, who was born in California to immigrant parents, is not a U.S. citizen. Now, they say, switching Biden to Harris on ballots this fall is illegal. Listen to Trump's running mate.
This was fundamentally illegitimate.
And Republican Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
It would be wrong and I think unlawful in accordance to some of these states' rules for a handful of people to go in a back room and switch it out because they don't like the candidate any longer.
But that's false, too. CNN contacted every state, and aside from two which did not reply, they all said there are no obstacles to putting Harris on the ballot. And on it goes.
Kamala can't have my guns, she can't have my gasoline engine, and she sure as hell can't have my steaks and cheeseburgers.
Suggestions that Harris wants to outright ban guns, gasoline cars, and red meat, that she couldn't pass the bar exam, and is totally against Jewish people. All of those are false. Without a doubt, Harris has talked about gun control and about alternative fuels and about everyone eating better in this country. Republicans undeniably have a lot of issues that they could engage her on. But right now it seems they're just throwing everything at her to see what might stick, whether it's true or not.
Joining us now, Howard Dean, the Democratic presidential candidate in 2004 and former governor of Vermont. Governor, thanks so much for being here. We also want to note, of course, you served as the chair of the DNC. So you are well versed in what is taking place as they're rushing to get ready for that convention coming up in just a few weeks. We've seen in the last 7 days, Vice President Harris raise record amounts of money, $200 million. A lot of it from first-time donors. And our team says 2/3 of that actually coming from first-time donors. 170,000 new volunteers signing up. What do you make of this momentum? And more importantly, for the Harris campaign, is it sustainable? Can they convert that into votes, especially in these battleground states?
I expect it's very sustainable. In fact, I believe her numbers will get better in the next few weeks. So I think she'll go into post-Labor Day campaign with a small lead. And here's why. Number one, we need young people to vote, and we need African Americans to vote. Now they both have a reason to do that. Number two, abortion is an open wound for the Republican Party. When Trump appointed 3 of his cronies to the bench in the Supreme Court, and they took away women's rights to make their own mind up about their own health. That you cannot underestimate the enthusiasm among women for somebody who really understands their situation and what the Republicans have done to them. So this a whole new game, even among the 100,000 or so people in the Midwest who voted to abstain because of what they thought was Biden's unfair treatment of Palestinians. Even they are now looking for a way to come back because Kamala Harris has a slightly different position on what Netanyahu has done in Gaza.
And as we launch into this campaign, which I was just saying with my colleague Jeff Zeleny, has kind of started all over again with the dynamics taking shape before our very eyes. Of course, the race is on for Harris to define herself to voters, and also for the Trump campaign to define her to voters. One of the things they've really zeroed in on, as you're well aware of, is some of her previous comments on issues, with them saying she's too liberal. I have kind of some clips of that. Let's listen.
You're considered the most liberal United States senator.
Somebody said that, and it actually was Mike Pence on the debate stage.
Are you for defunding the police?
How are you defining defund the police? We need to reimagine how we are achieving public safety in America. Listen, I think there's no question that we've got to critically re-examine ICE and its role and the way that it is being administered and the work it is doing, and we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
Governor, are these previous positions, are they a liability now?
I don't think so. She doesn't want to defund the police, and she says that immigration is a big problem, but we need to have a different approach. In fact, we would have had a different approach, but the Republicans voted down a bill because Trump thought it would make Trump look bad and make Biden look good. So I think she's in the clear on all these issues, and I expect that these are going to help her, not hurt her.
How do you think she can best assuage any voter out there that thinks that she is too liberal for them? What do you think is the best way? Is it through messaging?
What does
is it on
that
the
mean?
campaign trail?
Voters who just think are against people who are liberal are going to vote for Trump no matter what.
Well, what about like an independent voter?
Well, if it's a genuinely independent voter, we now have a candidate who's 59 years old, 20 years younger than Trump, who I also think has some pretty significant dementia issues. And she's a breath of fresh air to independent voters, truly independent voters. All this stuff about being too liberal appeals to their base. Well, that doesn't help them because their base is going to vote for them anyway. I think independent voters tend to look carefully at what people are saying, and that's one of the reasons the VP is important.
And the former president, obviously on the attack here, he's called her a, quote, bum. He's made fun of the way she laughs. Here's how she's been responding to this.
You may have noticed Donald Trump has been resorting to some wild lies about my record, and some of what he and his running mate are saying, well, it's just plain weird. I mean, that's the box you put that in, right?
And we've kind of seen this messaging come out about just calling it plain weird, like we just heard the vice president say. What do you think about that approach in terms of fighting back against these attacks from the right and from the former president?
Well, they are weird, first of all. I mean, who talks like that? Who do you really want a president that's going to say this kind of wild, crazy stuff and lie 76 times in 10 minutes? This is what having a younger person who has 3.5 years of experience in the Oval Office as vice president lead our ticket now, who truly represents America as it looks, not as the right wing would like it to look, who does not share the views of the right wing of the Republican Party, which is that Kamala was chosen simply because of her race. I mean, this is a racist party, the Republican Party. It is a party that their principal platform is based on hate and anger. And Kamala Harris is a great candidate to just make that on its face look ridiculous. Nobody wants to be divided anymore except the far right. They'll get their division. And I predict Kamala Harris is going to win with 53% of the vote.